The transportation sector in India is one of the most rapidly growing sectors, evolving with tremendous potential. The expanse and scope of this sector is today throwing up exciting opportunities for different stakeholders, both domestically and internationally. The burgeoning growth of this sector has also significantly contributed to the buoyancy of the Indian economy. From a nascent, unorganized market, the road transport sector in India has grown to a massive industry with several important players expressing interest and driving its story forward. In true celebration of this spirit, CEAT recently brought together industry experts and market leaders from this sector to throw light on its scope and potential.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, this evening has been specially designed to take you through an experience that celebrates the success of the Indian transportation sector. Please put your hands together as I would like to invite on stage Mr. Suresh Venkat from CNBC TV18.
Right, it's now my duty to invite the rest of my panel. May I have on stage Mr. Telang, we need you on stage. Mr. Rakesh Batra, National Leader Automotive Sector, Ernst & Young. Mr. Rakesh Kalra, Managing Director, Mahindra Navistar. Mr. Anirudh Bhuvalka, Managing Director and CEO of Asia Motorworks. Mr. Paras Chowdhury, the Managing Director of CEAT. Mr. Vijay Sankeshwar, the CEO of VRL Logistics. Hello and once again, welcome to this special panel discussion. It's called Driven by Technology. Right, so let's dive straight into the discussion. Mr. Telang, my first question is for you. A few years ago, 2 years ago, Mr. Ratan Tata stunned the world with an engineering achievement called the Tata Nano, the world's cheapest car, the Tata Ace. It is the nano of the truck business, right? Are trucks just not as sexy enough as cars? Why doesn't the Ace get as much coverage as the Nano does?
We are equally proud of both the achievements.
Okay.
Ace as well as Nano. I mean, it's for the people to react differently. Perhaps when Nano came into the market, the famous issue about 1 lakh, probably that's what caught the attention of everyone. And everyone believed that it's not possible to do it, and that's why probably it got a lot more.
And like Mr. Tata said, a promise is a promise. Mr. Telang, give us a sense, how big is Tata's bet on small commercial vehicles over the next 10 years? How much money, how much resources are you going to bet on the small truck?
We believe that probably this is going to explode in a big way for a couple of reasons. As I said in my earlier speech also, the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Vikas Yojana, which is moving very rapidly, is going to connect all these villages.
Working in the media, we get to hear one sentence almost every day. It's called the India growth story. That nothing is going to derail the India growth story. You go out on the roads and the India growth story crumbles under your very tires. Are we going to see the next big leap in infrastructure?
The India growth story cannot move without the development of infrastructure. Infrastructure spending is quite significant. I won't say that spending is less. Within the coffers of the government, the spending is reasonable. But the way the Indian economy is exploding, the way the buying power of people are going up, the way we see traffic, the way we see sale of auto vehicles, the way we see congestion all over the place on highways, despite the highways having gone 4-lane, etc. It is absolutely unimaginable, and if this trend has to continue, government spending will have to be speeded up. I don't think the government believed that this kind of explosion is going to happen.
Let's get a reaction from Mr. Rakesh Batra on this. Mr. Telang says he's betting big on the small commercial vehicle. Mr. Chowdhury says that the government will get its act together, and you are seeing significant investments in infrastructure, and those will bear fruit. Would you agree with both of them?
As far as the auto sector is concerned, I think there are a few fundamental drivers in place that are driving the growth of this industry going forward. In fact, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had the opportunity to meet with a number of our, automotive leaders in the country, both vehicle manufacturers as well as component manufacturers. And I think the overall outlook is very, very optimistic. I think the fundamental drivers in place, whether it be passenger vehicles or be commercial vehicles or two-wheelers, are primarily being driven by, the growing economy. The fact that we're at an inflection point in terms of the per capita GDP. I think experience in other countries has shown that once you cross that tipping point of about $1,000 per capita, that there's a explosion in mobility and sale of or need for mobility.
Is the government cognizant of that inflection point? Are we also going to see a concomitant explosion in roads and infrastructure, or are we just going to see more and more people buying cars and Tata Nanos and Ace trucks and crowding our already crowded roads?
Well, I hope the government is reading some of those reports and some of the other reports that are out there. So none of this is, a great secret, but it's established from other countries. As far as infrastructure development is concerned, I think we have a long way to go.
Mr. Kalra, you're part of a joint venture. The Indian commercial vehicle sector largely dominated by Indian players, but the Indian passenger sector largely dominated by foreign players. What's so difficult about the commercial vehicle sector that the foreigners just can't manage to figure it out?
Well, I think if you look at the Indian commercial vehicle market, we are very, very price sensitive. And
you would argue the same in the passenger segment as well?
Oh yeah, sure. But if you just bring a product from overseas and want to sell it in the domestic market, it just may not be possible. So what you got to do is you've got to make a product for the Indian market the way they want it and produce it right here, and only then it can work out. So that's one of the reasons why anybody who comes from overseas will have to study the Indian market very deeply and have a product which suits the Indian conditions.